This is Chapter 6, Level 4 students. My name is Tara.
Sarah,
Cheryl,
Daniel,
and Yasmin.
For our presentation, we will identify Level 4 descriptors, we will go over the necessary assignment and assessment strategies, general instructional strategies, and we will end with discussion questions for you to answer. So, what does Level 4 language look like? Students at Level 4 can process increasingly complex social and academic input. Their understanding of concrete and abstract topics is expanding, and they can derive increased meaning from longer stretches of discourse. When speaking, students at Level 4 will likely appear fully proficient in social contexts and approaching proficiency in academic contexts. Their language is increasingly growing in complexity and lexical precision. Errors may still occur, but it should not obstruct meaning. Students at Level 4 reading make sense of texts of varying complexity as they approach proficiency. Students will still require support when reading about unfamiliar topics. Even though they might appear proficient, teachers are reminded to make explicit, persistent efforts to push these students to higher levels of reading development in English. Level 4 students are capable of producing increasingly complex communication with greater precision of vocabulary. They can write about abstract concepts using different genres, use a wider range of general academic and content-specific vocabulary, and use increasingly complex grammar. Again, errors may occur, but typically do not obstruct meaning.
Now we will move on to assignments and assessment strategies for Level 4 students.
grade level assessments should be met with scaffolding and support. At Level 4, students now have acquired enough language proficiency to participate in grade level assessments as long as they are given proper scaffolds and support. Level 4 students should be involved along with their native English speaking peers. Level 4 students can be provided differentiated scoring rubrics. At Level 4, the teacher needs to clarify the assessment process by using a very specific and accessible scoring rubric that supports the students in their understanding of expectations. It is important to remember not to make assumptions of our students. Some things that we consider to be routine may be completely new for a ELL student that starts as Level 4. It is important to familiarize your student with the testing format before testing them. For example, storytelling, summarizing, analyzing, and evaluating. At this level, it is appropriate to assess both the language and content of learning. Our questioning of students at this level needs to go beyond the yes or no type questions. The assessment should have the students respond with complex discourse and commensurate vocabulary.
One reading strategy for assignment and assessments is a combination of grade level text with scaffolding and high quality, age appropriate, lower reading level materials that provide visual support. By the time students are in Level 4, they are able to process increasingly complex text, which includes a variety of genres, which are accompanied by related academic vocabulary, and they have to develop that by then. Another reading strategy for assignment and assessment is using traditional paper and pencil tests wisely, which emphasize visual support and linguistic scaffolding. Teachers are cautioned to remember that Level 4 students are not able to read on grade level. Through informational, which are ungraded assessments that are formative in nature, can be used to inform teachers of Level 4 students' instructional gaps related to both language and content. Moving on to writing strategies for assignment and assessments, one of the strategies you can use is eliciting writing of increasingly academic and grammatically varied language about both concrete and abstract topics. This includes language should reflect discourse level frames and models used during instruction. At Level 4, it is possible to assess content knowledge by means of writing. In the diagram below, you can see that there is a potential construct overlap in assessing content knowledge by means of writing and vice versa. Another writing strategy that one can employ is also wisely using traditional paper and pencil tests, not just emphasizing on visual support or linguistic scaffolding, but also simplified language. ELLs should not be held to a higher standard for achieving writing proficiency than their native English-speaking peers, nor should teachers allow any less. This is part of what the author meant by wise use of traditional assessments, such as essay tests. Another aspect of this essential wisdom is recognizing that the test format itself may hinder students in demonstrating what they know and can do in the content areas.
Here are some general instructional strategies for Level 4 students.
I will first begin by mentioning 4 steps teachers are cautioned to keep in mind. Number 1 is examine their assumptions. Teachers are to look at their own assumptions and make a conscious effort to free themselves of any unfair judgments made against students. Number 2, learn about students' backgrounds. This goes hand in hand with examining assumptions about students. When teachers take the time to learn about the backgrounds and cultures of their students, they can be empathetic and accepting towards various situations. Number 3, determine students' instructional needs based on content knowledge and skills and levels of language development. This can take the form of baseline assessments given at the beginning of the school year. A teacher can take a look at the data and measure exactly what the students know. From here, they can plan their lessons accordingly. Lastly, number 4, continue to teach essential learning from the curriculum and its associated language in a differentiated manner. Level 4 students are not exempt from grade level curriculum. This next slide mentions 3 things teachers should include across all domains. Provide sensory support for every lesson. While some students might be ready to exhibit more learning independence, other students at this level are likely to have various cultural and linguistic needs that require sensory support. Examples are manipulatives, pictures, demonstrations, and hands-on experiences. Next, teachers should explicitly require academic language, content-specific vocabulary, and grammatically varied language. Teachers should never assume students already know these things. For example, instead of allowing students to use simple words and phrases, Level 4 students should be required to use pre-taught language. Next, provide scaffolding and support needed for students to engage in grade level assignments. This support can look like additional explanations regarding expectations, supplementary materials provided to complete assignments or assessments, or coaching during the completion of assignments. Listening. Scaffold language development by modeling and prompting an increased use of academic and grammatically varied language when discussing concrete and abstract topics. Teachers should examine their own classroom language production and must ask themselves if their language during instruction is indicative of their ELD goals for their students at Level 4. As students are using high-level discourse and engaging students to try new language, it should be remembered that these opportunities for enrichment are the only ones ELLs and non-ELLs have. Promote higher order thinking processes during oral teaching by providing students with graphic organizers. When used in conjunction with lectures, documentaries, podcasts, and such, graphic organizers facilitate and support both ELLs and non-ELLs with attending to details through listening. Speaking. Provide opportunities for students to produce extended oral discourse, increasingly including abstract concepts. Students at Level 4 in speaking are linguistically prepared to engage in increasingly imaginative and complex activities across domains. Opportunities for speaking might include debates on current or relatable events, speaking as a member of a panel, or any other community-based activities. Scaffold extended oral language production by providing visually supported discourse level frames and models for high-quality academic discourse. Discourse level language includes expanded and well-organized paragraphs of varying length and complexity. During instruction, teachers must address features of expanded academia discourse, such as how to include more detail, cite data, transition between ideas, and ensure cohesiveness. Lastly, insist on increasingly correct and precise language. Students at Level 4 need teachers to pinpoint language instruction during acquisition. For example, when a student states, "The author says," he or she might be prompted to use the word asserts. Teachers should not pounce on every error, however, as this would negatively build a student's affective filter. Instead, finding appropriate teaching opportunities to encourage alternate structures and vocabulary will help students advance towards grade level expectations.
The cultural and linguistic issues that hindered the rapid acquisition of reading skills for Level 1 through 3 students are not as prevalent to impede learning for Level 4 students. However, Level 4 students can begin to independently read grade level texts as long as they receive the scaffolding and support needed. This is because they are likely below reading level. The author states that a strategy for reading instruction for Level 4 students includes using a combination of grade level texts and high-quality, age-appropriate, lower reading level books that are aligned with content curriculum that provides visual support. Examples of support include teacher explanations, pre-teaching of vocabulary, glossaries, graphic organizers and outlines, lower reading level materials, and other topical resources like first-person accounts, magazine and newspaper articles, and internet research. In addition to providing graphic organizers, Level 4 students can be challenged to create their own organizers to help them make sense of what they read. This is a way for teachers to push Level 4 student thinking to the next level. The issues that slowed writing development for Level 1 through 3 students have mostly diminished by Level 4. Yet, teachers should still tailor instruction to the specific needs of individual students. A strategy for writing instruction includes providing students opportunities to produce extended written discourse that is meaningful and relevant to reflect abstract thought. Examples of instructional assignments include essays where students are given solutions to a problem, like pollution, essays where students persuade others to take a stand on an issue, like the merits of vegetarianism, or essays that outline the implications of a current event or issue, like healthcare. Teachers should also scaffold students' written language production to a higher level. This push encourages learners to move beyond Level 4 ability. For example, if a student were to write, "The liquid in the jar began to boil," the teacher might prompt the student to use the word beaker instead of jar. In conclusion, we learn that Level 4 students need targeted linguistically differentiated instruction to support their content and language learning. The most efficient way to develop language is to attach instruction and assessment to authentic representations of the curriculum. In this presentation, we delve deeper into learning that Level 4 students are at the brink of reaching proficiency for academic contexts. We found relevancy in asking these discussion questions because it acknowledges differentiation strategies that teachers can implement in assessment or instruction for Level 4 students, while also noting ways that teachers can ensure student growth beyond Level 4.
Thank you for listening.